Hey everyone, happy weekend, and I hope you are as excited as me for the challenge which starts on Monday next week. Now, I thought I'd quickly jump in here. I've been going through all your comments, and it's so interesting to see that every time I run this challenge, no matter who comes from where, at what level of experience you are, the problems are always the same. The challenges that you face are always the same, no matter where you are around the world. So that's comforting to know that nothing is changing, and at the same time it's kind of sad that nothing is changing. So hopefully this challenge will change some of that. But now I just wanted to share with you three things, three facts, three truths, whatever you want to call them, that not many people talk about, but I think that they would serve you really well to remember them, not only for the duration of the next week, the days that we are together, but also for the rest of the time you potentially are involved in the fashion industry. And they bear relevance to other areas of life, but in fashion especially, it's really important to remind yourself of what I'm about to tell you every time you face a struggle or every time you wonder how to approach something. So, first of all, I want to start by telling you that a lot of you have the same things that you're looking for. You're looking for manufacturer with small minimums. You're looking for, manufacturers, the manufacturer to find, etc. And I want to tell you right now that not this challenge, not this training, not anything anywhere in the industry has the magic bullet. There is no magic bullet. So I just want you to kind of have reasonable expectations and understand that this is the process. And that leads me on to the first thing that I wanted to tell you that is really foundational. Fashion manufacturing is like dating, exactly like dating. So some people may be lucky and they find the manufacturer straight away when they start looking. Others may take forever. It may take a long time for you to keep meeting manufacturers, assessing them. You think you found the one, then something happens and it doesn't work out. And it's just like dating. You don't always find the significant other straight away, right? Sometimes you kind of have to go through different experiences and learn certain lessons in order to understand what is it that you want and what are your boundaries. Other times it just happens really quickly. And even when you find the one really quickly, things may happen later down the line. So what I just want you to know is that just like any relationship you have, you really need to understand that manufacturing is based on trust, communication, and a lot of listening, compromising, getting to know. It takes time to get to know each other. So if you're looking for a manufacturer who straight away is going to get it right and make your perfect product, it can happen. And you will see this, next few days will prepare you to get as much as possible that kind of outcome. But the reality is also is that no matter how much they try, they might not get you the first time around. Maybe they just requires a little bit of time for them to get to know you. So please remember, every time you have high expectations, just take yourself back to your dating, when you were looking or you're in the process of looking, or to, if you're married, your marriage, what does it take to make it good? What did it took you to get there, etc. And just apply exactly the same logic to looking for a manufacturer. Secondly, one thing that no one really talks about, and which is the root of many of the problems in fashion manufacturing, is that you have two very different sets of people trying to work together. So on one hand, you have you, the fashion entrepreneur, who is creative. A lot of you have had good education. Being a creative means that we are always in search of inspiration. We go to galleries, we watch movies, we go to flea markets, etc. We travel, we read books. Everyone gets inspiration from different sources, and that makes us richer people. It makes us rounded people, and that makes us different to everyone else. And a lot of you also live in countries that are in big cities that others look up to and think, oh my goodness, London, New York, whatever, these big cities. It doesn't have to be a capital, but to many people, these are big cities. And then you have, on the other hand, you manufacturers that very often, are placed in smaller towns. Very often they come from smaller towns in other countries that are not so well-to-do, not so cosmopolitan and on the map, and desirable. Very often you work with people in Asia, etc., who aspire to come to the West, what they consider the West, Europe, America, etc. And a lot of these people, the reason they're working in factories is because they didn't have the means that we had. They didn't go to have education. They don't have the interest and the passion and the desire to learn new things constantly. They work in this factory because it's a job to them. It's a means to an end. It provides money to feed the family. So when you have huge, massive expectations, be reminded that you're dealing with people who are not on the same level as you. Their aspirations are different, their understanding is different, their ability to think is completely different from yours. They sit on the machine, they do what they know how to do, what they're given, and they whiz through it, etc. So when you ask them to think outside of the box and to foresee a problem and to solve it, etc., perhaps it's too much that you're asking. So you have to figure out how can you then make that foolproof, bulletproof, easier for them to not to overcome these challenges. So not make the mistakes that you want them to make. So so always be reminded when you're dealing with manufacturers of this, find ways to connect to these people, because by connecting to them, you're making them, more open and to remember you and to perhaps, put a little bit more effort into the job that they're doing for you. I'll give you an example. When I go to factories, I always take, some sweets or some biscuits or some chocolates, etc. And I insist that they get shared with the people. I stop and say hi to them. I chat to them. If there's a tea or a break or something, I like to mingle with them. I'd like to, ask and inquire about their families. That means a lot to them, because to them, we already are so much more, we are kind of a celebrity to them because we have a website, we have a business, we get written in the press, etc. So by you connecting to them, these things really matter to them and leave a lasting impact on the work that they do for you. So then finally, the one thing that I consistently see designers do is that they kind of put themselves in a second place. It's almost like in a little bit of a victim position. And they think that by delegating everything to the factory, the magic will happen and they'll get what they want. And very often it's like, oh, nobody replies to me. They got this wrong. It happened to me, etc. And I just want you to, I just want to take this time and just to say something that I always talk about with the people I work with, the brands, the clients, etc. But if you read my articles on our platform, etc., but I always talk about owning it, an extreme ownership. You are the owner of your product. You are the boss of your, future business, the business you have now. Even if it's just like a hobby and you want to make one product, you are the owner. The idea came from you. You want something done to a certain level. So own it. Don't feel like a shrinking violet. Don't feel shy. Be confident. Whatever you don't learn, whatever you don't know, you learn. There's means to learn it. But don't go there, because they can feel you. They can feel that you're a little bit, timid, uncertain, etc. And manufacturers don't want that. Because while everyone from the designer side wants manufacturers with small minimum quantities, all the manufacturers want brands with big quantities. So there's already this balance and mismatch. So you need to find a way to make yourself attractive and, and appeal to these people to work with you. Otherwise, they'll keep on chasing big brands. And let's face it, we all know that there's less and less of them around. But there's also a lot of, entrepreneurs coming into the industry all the time, wanting the same thing as you want. So the ones that manage to get what they want is the ones who manage to find ways to work with these manufacturers. So this is what I wanted to share with you. So I hope it helps you, like I said, for the next few days, for the duration of this training and this challenge, but also just bear it in mind and keep it in mind for the rest of your time in the fashion industry. It really will serve you well. So I'll see you in the group next week.